Hello and welcome to Army News. In this newscast, we have an excellent feature of an Army reservist who plays in the Canadian Football League, coverage of exercise Virtual Ram, and an update on the new Lift King. We also have an outstanding video involving our Skyhawks, but we begin our show with D-Day coverage from both Toronto and Valcartier. D-Day and the Battle of Normandy signaled a turning point in the struggle for victory by the Allied forces during the Second World War. Although the war continued until the summer of 1945, it was the invasion of Normandy, the largest combined sea, land, and air offensive in history, that signaled the beginning of the end of World War II in Europe. To mark D-Day and the Battle of Normandy, the 60th anniversary ceremonies were held on the 6th of June across Canada. Sergeant Kevin Galina in Toronto and Sergeant Cedric Hamel in Quebec explain.
Well over 1,200 Army, Navy, and Air Cadets, along with 1,000 soldiers from 32 Canadian Brigade Group, conducted a March of Remembrance in the busy streets of downtown Toronto on June 6th. This March of Remembrance symbolized the Canadian and Allied forces' march to victory and peace during D-Day and the Battle of Normandy.
Well, I can relate back to D-Day in the sense that I landed with at HR, which was if you landed at HR, you were first ashore. And I was in B Company, Queen's Own. And we were going great coming into shore, and we hit an obstacle that blew the whole front of the craft away. And that was disabled, the craft, the LCA was disabled, and we had to bail out, and those that weren't killed on the LCA were struggling ashore in about 7-8 feet of water, I guess.
Ceremonies like this one in Queen's Park in Toronto honor our veterans by pausing to remember and reflect on their sacrifices. We honor and thank all of those who served and died to protect our Canadian values.
Outside of Caen, in the Normandy countryside of France, there is a cemetery. And on top of one of the graves, there is a cross. And that cross bears this inscription: leadership is wisdom and courage and a great carelessness of self.
Veterans have now passed the torch of peace to Canadian soldiers of today, whom are deployed on military operations around the world in places like Bosnia, Afghanistan, and Haiti. We will now join Sergeant Cedric Hamel in downtown Quebec City, who files this report.
Merci pour leur courage. Merci pour leur sacrifice. Merci pour leur abnégation. Vous constituez certainement encore aujourd'hui une source d'inspiration pour nous tous, et entre autres pour les troupes du Québec qui sont présentement déployées en Afghanistan et en Bosnie.
These people are such brave hearts, and I look at them and I think sometime in the future I'd like to also be a veteran and have received a bunch of medals just like them. To see young soldiers in a new army, so to speak, in those days it wasn't the same, and I'm very proud of them. I'd like to point out that the Canadian soldier is a man who can adapt in any situation. His capability to accept the conditions he's in, his physical endurance to resist, enable him to deal with really difficult settings.
About 200 soldiers from the 1st Canadian Mechanized Brigade Group participated in an annual simulated battle known as Virtual Ram, a battle fought in front of computer terminals. Sergeant Mike Vandenbroek explains.
One Canadian Mechanized Brigade Group is participating in exercise Virtual Ram, a computer-assisted exercise that is designed to exercise the command elements of brigade headquarters and the 10 units that belong to it. The aim is to effectively exercise one CMBG in the ability to conduct operational planning and unit battle procedure at the command level. without the expense and time of deploying troops in the field. We had the chance to talk to the commander of 1 Canadian Mechanized Brigade Group, Colonel Grant, and he had this to say about Exercise Virtual RAM.
This exercise was generated by LFWA headquarters with the assistance of the Army Simulation Center, and it puts the brigade headquarters in a peace support operations in a fictional country in the Balkans. What it is causing us to do is go through a number of planning cycles, starting from a deployment into a theater, doing Chapter 6 peacekeeping operations, transiting into Chapter 7 warfighting, and then back again to Chapter 6. Training time is a precious thing, and it's an expensive thing when you take lots of soldiers to the field. So by us getting our act together first at the staff level and the command level, including the unit headquarters, by the time we get to the field, it'll be time well spent for the soldiers because we won't be wasting their time trying to get our own house in order. From my standpoint, this has been a great exercise for a couple of reasons. One is it's shaken out the brigade headquarters. We are much better now, even after about 5 days of exercising than we were when we got here. But in addition, the unit headquarters, all 10 of them have come out, and they've made their own strides, their own improvements in their skill sets. We've made some great strides, and everyone who's been involved in the exercise has learned a lot.
In the end, the lessons learned during Exercise Virtual RAM will help the command elements to both better prepare and plan for troop deployment on exercise or operations. This is Sergeant Mike Vandenberg reporting for Army News, Edmonton.
For many people, the chance to participate at the Olympic Games will only be a dream. After competing at the 2000 Summer Olympics, Captain Sharon Donnelly may have another chance to fulfill that dream. She was in Ottawa recently, and Army News caught up with her.
At National Defence Headquarters, Captain Sharon Donnelly made an appearance as she prepares to make her bid to be a part of Canada's women's Olympic triathlon team. Sharon will attempt to earn her spot on the team at her qualifying race in Edmonton on the 11th of July. The top Canadian in that race will win the third and final spot and go to Athens this summer. She said a few words of thanks and signed autographs for the many people who came out to wish her well.
We all have something in common with myself as an athlete, and that's we all have a mission that we're aiming towards, just that my mission is Olympic Games.
Because I know that if I give everything I've got in training and preparation for that, the result will come. So really making the Olympic team, that's my goal.
With the experience of representing Canada at the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney, the Olympic Games still hit home for her.
A uniform, whether it's an Army uniform or whether it's a sports uniform, the feeling is awesome. And there's no greater feeling than coming out and they go, representing Canada, Sharon Donnelly. This still sends shivers up my spine.
With the realistic threat of terrorism in our world today, it will be business as usual for our Olympic athletes.
And I don't think any athlete is gonna give up their spot because of security concerns. And if they do, that's giving in to terrorism. We all know that. If people don't go, that's giving in. You can't do that.
Her day wrapped up with an on-camera interview at television station CJOH with sports director Terry Marcotte.
With all the well wishes behind her, Captain Sharon Donnelly will now focus on her training in securing the third and final spot on the women's triathlon Olympic team, which will compete in Greece this summer. She will compete in the World Cup in Edmonton on the 11th of July. The top Canadian will secure that third and final spot. Sergeant Craig Reed, Army News, Ottawa. For more information on your Army and other stories Army News has covered, visit our website at army.gc.ca. Sea containers play a vital role in Canadian Forces operations around the world. Sgt Derek Scott reports on how our operators can now load and unload these containers safer and faster.
Make no mistake, this is no ordinary forklift. Better known as the LK-35 Charlie, this heavy equipment mover is built at the Lift King plant located in Woodbridge, Ontario. This is the first rough terrain container handler capable of moving 35,000 pounds or 16,000 kilograms. This super forklift can be fitted with a top handler attachment that locks onto the top of the sea container, allowing operators to load faster with less damage. There are now 3 of the LK-35 deployed. 2 are now in Afghanistan and 1 in Haiti. 6 have been delivered, with 4 more to roll off the assembly line.
Basically, this is new technology for us. The top handler itself is new. When the Antonovs were on the ground, we had to get them up in the air as quick as possible due to tensions and the area we're working in. And we could download an Antonov complete, which can hold 11 containers, 20-foot containers, in about 57 minutes. The max lifting capacity with the top handler is 17.5 ton, which is roughly about 35,000 pounds. Now, when you want to use it as a forklift, and you have that option with this machine, you can lift 42,200 pounds, which is almost 19 ton. And the nice thing about this piece of kit that we got called upon time and time again over in Afghanistan is the ability to weigh the containers that we're lifting. Nothing but positive feedback from the operators in the field right now, and this is where it counts. Speaking from personal experience, especially with being deployed with the machine, it was all positive. It was all positive. The military in purchasing the LK-35 Charlie is a great leap forward. We've given the operator in the field and deployed on overseas missions to do the job effectively and efficiently, without a doubt. So what do you think of her? 27,000 pounds of metal and hydraulics. If I had the money, I think I'd own one too.
With the acquisition today of 6 more LK-35 Charlie Lift King all-terrain container handlers, bringing the Canadian Forces total to 12 that are deployed at home and abroad, enabling soldiers to better do their job more efficiently and effectively. This is Sgt Derek Scott reporting for Army News at the Lift King plant in Woodbridge, Ontario.
Thank you, Sergeant Scott. Within the spectrum of sports, football bears the closest resemblance to war. Balancing 2 careers, one as an Army reservist and the other as a professional football player, Sgt Jason Kralt has seen both ends of that spectrum.
It is difficult to imagine how this football and this building could be the center point of a man with 2 promising careers. Picked up as a free agent by the Ottawa Renegades of the Canadian Football League in February of 2002, Sgt Jason Kralt had finally realized a dream that so many athletes don't get the chance to complete. A native of Ottawa, Jason Kralt had always dreamt of playing football in front of his hometown fans. Drafted by the British Columbia Lions in 1999, he spent 3 years with the club, culminating with his team's winning of a Grey Cup championship in 2000. Jason joined the Canadian Armed Forces in 1990 and served in Croatia on a United Nations peacekeeping tour in 1993. His leadership and teammanship skills that he learned in the military have been a welcome addition to the Ottawa Renegades. Holding the rank of sergeant in the military, his teammates and coaches can definitely see the Army in him when he's on the field. Sergeant Kralt's colleagues, when asked to describe him in one word, all came up with,
Jason brings a lot of leadership to the defense.
First and foremost, he brings leadership.
Jason's just been a great leader for our team.
The qualities of leadership.
He brings leadership skills.
He is a born leader. You just know that by the way he talks and stands up there.
When asked if they can see the Army in him when he's on the field, the responses were unanimous.
Definitely, he's giving orders out there, and he's definitely a leader out there. He tells everyone what to do and where they should be, and make sure everyone's doing the right job.
On the field, that's what it is. That's a battleground out there with these guys, and a lot of them they're younger kids, and they need that leadership on the field. He's kind of like the glue out there, especially like on a punt team, which requires a lot of glue. He's kind of like the glue out there that keeps the things together.
His versatility, his persistence, his attack, and just such a great guy that's the type of player you want to play with. That's the type of guy you go to bat for and, excuse the pun, go to war for.
He brings leadership skills that you see both on the field when he's playing football and leadership skills that he's earned in the military. He also brings a good life experience, having served on a UN tour in Croatia.
He's a bit of a role model for them. The young troops can see there's a person who's got a professional career and he has the time to commit to a reserve life.
Sergeant Kralt explains that the comradeship experienced in an infantry platoon on operations is identical to the comradeship on a football team during a pivotal game, but with one remarkable difference.
Now, obviously, when you're in an operational tour, when things go wrong, go very wrong, and people's lives are at stake. Whereas a football game is just a game, and you lose the game. But everything else is absolutely identical. I mean,
Jason Kralt's blend of leadership, comradeship, and tenacity has enabled him to pursue his dreams both in the military and on the football field. This is Army News, your news for your Army, and we would like to hear from you. We welcome your feedback. Please visit our website at army.gc.ca. With that, you're up to date. We leave you this week with some outstanding images of the Skyhawks. For Army News, I'm Sergeant Craig Reed.